Hi there. Today we're going to look at pretty basic chord change, G, D, C chords, and we're going to use a thing called an alternate bass. And we're going to go from one bass note to another bass note on the same chord, and we're also going to play a little run which will lead us into the next chord in the progression. Finishing that off with a little bit of a bluegrass, classic bluegrass ending. The first chord we're going to play is our G chord, which is the one I'm playing right now. If you're not sure of these chords, you can look them up, or on the web page, of course, we have the chord diagrams accompanying this video. Here's our G chord. Second chord we want is our C chord, and the third chord, our D chord. The picking pattern with the right hand, basically what we're doing here is picking our G bass first on our G chord, strumming our chord, predominantly the bottom 4 strings. Then I go to my D bass. So the pattern for the G chord is G bass, strum, D bass, back to G bass, G bass, D bass, G bass. Moving on to my C chord, the bass notes are going to be C, G, and I'll show you that with the left hand in a second. C, G, back to C. Okay, our C chord, I need to move my third finger from my C bass up to the E string on the 3rd fret for my G bass. So we have C, G, C. And looking at our alternate bass for our D chord, we play our D bass note, A bass, D bass. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is play our run, which will take us from our G chord into our C chord. And the run is quite simply G, A, B, and into our C chord. Notice when I go onto the C note, I aim to get my fingers in place for not just the C note, but the C chord, so I get the run sounding like this. Taking that from the G chord. C position, I play my C bass note, slide up into C sharp, which is on the 4th fret, onto an open D string, and I'm ready to go with the D chord. Taking it back from the G. Now I'm going to lead into my G chord again. Simply play my open E string, it's a 6th string, F sharp, brings me back into my G chord. So the whole thing played through, looking at my left hand. Alright guys, let's have a look at the little lick that I play at the end, a little bit of a bluegrass ending for you. Okay, the run consists of a G note on the bass, followed by an open A. We're now going to hammer onto the A sharp, and then hammer onto the B, which is on the 2nd fret of our A string. Followed by our open D string. Hammering onto the E note, which is on the 2nd fret of the D string. And then finally an open G string, which is our 3rd string. we go. Okay, important thing with this is not to try and start off too fast. Spend a little bit of time working on your alternate bass on each chord, and put your chord progression together with your alternate bass. If you're not too flash on just playing the G, C and D chord, I suggest you just spend some time going through those changes first. Then add your alternate bass and then add your runs. At the end, of course, we've got our little bluegrass lick, so you can practice that separately, and then finally put the whole thing together. Good luck with it. I know you'll have a ball.